My name is Luce. I'm from New York City. My name is Louis Key, but my friends call me Luce. They gave me that nickname a long time ago. I've been dancing since 1975. I mean, before 1975, but really in the clubs since 1975. Living in Houston about 4 years. Like it here in Houston because very cool people, very good vibe. It's different. I appreciate the more love that you get out of Houston than you do in New York. New York already has it. Houston don't have it, and they appreciate it more. Then was a It was about being more independent. It was about being more unique. It was a time, and we're talking about, let's say I'm talking about the 80s, when the loft in the garage was very happening, and during that time, we were much more, we had the same kind of love and admiration that you see now, but we didn't have any set styles of dancing. Everyone was given a style because of the uniqueness. We didn't have labels for what their styles were. And It's a lot more different because we learned in the post, I would call it post-disco era and the pre-house era, that we learned how to dance with women, which is now being popular now. It's by the hustle by some people out we have in New York City. Um, there's a lot of difference. It's a time difference of when you're in the 80s that you're in New York City, and it's much more important to um, get that freedom out, to do that because you need to get that release out. It was a release for us in New York to get that dancing out. If we didn't, we'd be in jail. We'd probably have a bunch of kids we didn't know about. There'd be a whole bit different situation. But it was our way of to say that we can't have it perfect in our home life, our family life, a job, but we can at least get off and dance. And that's what happened in New York then. Now it's a little different. A lot of stuff has been labeled. A lot of people have understood the importance of house. A lot of break dances, ever since I'd say the early 80s, late 80s, have switched into house and made it house because house was definitely something that was um, brung on by having a label. And really, house is house music. It's actually a house party. House is a home. Home is where you keep, um, you have love, you have respect, you have values. That's what house is. It's about much more than just, we're doing a dance. The culture has changed in a way of, um, it depends on when you're talking about it. If you're saying that it changed in the 80s to the 90s, yes, it did. We had more people who came onto the scene, like the Mop Top crew. They came out that represented that New Jack swing stuff, that New Jack energy, that Nubian stuff that came in there with, that were people wasn't breakers, but they were hip hop that liked the house vibe because they had that acceptance by the house community that say, hey, you guys used to go to Loft. We never went there, but we like your moves. And we say, we like your moves. And that blended and mixed together. If you talk about the 90s to the 80s, I mean, no, not 90s to 80s, but the 90s to 2000, that was the era when we had clubs in the shelter, called the shelter, that gave you a much more global community. You had much more people come from all over the place dancing to the music that we listen to, which is considered house. After Chicago felt that they had that name. That's my thing. And then everything from 2000 to now, there's a whole new generation that some Europeans will feel that we don't have to worry about respecting that we are who we are now, which means it's a more me attitude than it is a us attitude. And I think that should change. And I think Houston has showed me that in a way, which is something that was more um, real and earthy and down to earth compared to arrogant and pretentious because I'm a dancer. I mean, there's dancers, a few feet from you, but it's about, your heart, how you deal with that when you dance. Well, I think Blueprint is that original Blueprint, and I think that's what I love the name about it, the name, because it is an original name that really says that it's supposed to be a start, the blueprint, the foundation, and it has that foundation in the way the house community in Houston has it. It's been underground. No one really knows it. Everybody's like, Houston, where's the cows? We're the cowboys. We're the cowgirls. Does everybody talk like this? Like, no, it's a completely different vibe. It's multicultural. You have, Mexicans, you got American Indians, you have, blacks, you have whites, and it's just this big old melting pot like New York used to be without being all white bread and everybody's trying to do the same thing. It has a little bit of a uniqueness because of its rawness. When you're beginning and you're doing something, you usually don't know how to do it, and you just do it for having fun because it's fun. So there's no rules, there's no cookie cutter, this and that and the other. It's not, you never see copies of copies of copies. But in Houston, in a way, the heart is very pure out here. I mean, they watch New York, they watch Detroit, they watch Chicago, they watch, they see this, they see the dance, but they have to understand that there's a heart that comes with house music. House music is the heart. It's the heart. It's not the body, it's the heart. After the heart goes, when the heart goes, there's no soul, there's no uniqueness, there's no, it's only you doing the moves, doing the steps. I think they should come to Blueprint to get the love, the honest love that they have here. I think that, beyond the cockiness of trying to be in a battle and be down. I mean, Beat Street's cool. I mean, I hear you. I know you're ex-breakers and things like that because the generation is ex-breakers coming to house music. But you have to come with a much more deeper heart and realize you don't take when you're in house. If you do take, you put in. You don't take everything. It's like it's like having a farm. You plant a seed, it grows. You take it, you cultivate, you eat it, you give it to friends, they give it to, and then you recycle it. But you see, if you don't learn to recycle it, all it does is you're just destroying the culture that you came into. So I think people that, to answer your question, I really think that you have to really look at Blueprint as a beginning and to come to Houston because it has a lot more than you expect it to have. They beat Chicago out. They Detroit, yeah, that's great, but don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on Houston because if you do, you'll be very disappointed about yourself. Because Houston is it. It's the shits.